or whatever's easiest for you. So I'm at Melissa Griffin's mastermind. I'm whispering because we're in a really tight time schedule. JD and I are going to go catch a flight to London for a speaking event, but I decided to stop here in LA for my good friend Melissa and her mastermind. I'll be talking about building a brand and then using that brand as an extension on Instagram. Yes.
Anytime, girl. Thank
Okay,
you.
so I think we're all ready to go.
Okay with time too. I know it's a
Yeah. I just have to be out for sure at 1:20.
Okay.
So we're like 60 minutes to the
perfect.
that my mom had a relapse with brain cancer. It had been an 8-year battle for her, and this time the doctors had said, we're going to stop chemotherapy, we're going to stop the brain surgeries, we're going to stop all treatment in and of itself. And it was just like, and that particular day, in that moment, I just knew this is not normal. I'm really, really, really sad. And the only thing I wanted to do more than anything was to go home. I wanted to be with my mom, and what may. And it's the start of new beginnings because I realized that life was short. I realized that against all the odds, my mom, doctor said she wasn't gonna walk, she started walking. She wasn't gonna talk, she started talking. They weren't gonna say that she was doing normal things like cooking, and none of us were all that excited about her cooking. But boy, oh boy, when she put a plate of like burnt food in front of you, you were like, yes, mom, yes, mama. And I felt like she had a second chance at life, and I thought to myself, this is my chance for a second chance at life. And she is like my North Star. She's the reason why I wake up and I think to myself, my God, you were the thing that made me come alive again. So I'm just like living in just constant communication and also humility that her life was a sacrifice to show mine what I was supposed to do. I started a blog. Hey, Melissa, like, you get it, right? I mean, people are still clowning on the blogs. I was like, I still blog. Okay, because it worked. It worked for me because I created content and I created one-on-one conversations with people. And this is about like the big push in 2006, 2007. It was just really hard. I did not know how to get my business off the ground because I was underfunded, undereducated, underconnected. I was under everything. I likely kind of joke that I'm the queen of under everything, underdogs. Like, yes, those are my people. I've really found a voice to resonate with people who have the odds stacked against them and decide to move on despite of all of that. Because once I did get my business off the ground, I did not know how to stick out from a sea of other very talented people who did the same thing I did. Why is somebody going to pick my business or your business or your business over a sea of other talented people? And I came down to one word, and that's experience. The experience that I create is going to be the reason why somebody would choose to invest in my business, buy a course, follow me online. I once heard a brand defined as the thing somebody says about you when you walk out of the room. What are people saying about you? What are people saying about me when I'm not in their room? That's the conversation that I really am trying to talk to entrepreneurs about. But the thing that I've noticed is that we want to be great, but we don't have a plan for greatness. And that's like a small little mindset shift because we can't want something without planning and navigating a way to get there. But the first thing we did when I sat down with an entrepreneur was ask them, who are you targeting? So it's not enough to have a really awesome product, a really awesome program, a really awesome service. Like, guess what, boo? You're awesome. Great. Your mama told you, I think it's true. But until you convey those things online, it doesn't go anywhere. That's the foundation of a brand. So I've come to believe that you may have an awesome product or service, and I don't disagree with you. But the way that things are working now in digital marketing is like 3 main components. I think my computer went to sleep. Oh no, it didn't. Okay, so we must define our business in yes, there are other ways to define it, but let's keep it as simple as possible when it comes to branding. If your business does not help somebody, and if your business does not make their life easier, or if your business does not diminish fear, so help them lose weight, get organized. If it does not make their life easier by giving organization skills, how-to, guides, if it doesn't diminish fear, giving a sense of security, educating, if it does not do at least one of these things, you're gonna have a very hard time having somebody pay you for your product or service, regardless of how awesome it is. And this is the biggest shift that we've seen in the last probably 20 years when it comes to marketing. In the digital economy, we are now all, what do you do for me? What's the benefit? What do I get? It's a very entitled sense only because there's so much information that's free and readily available. So having an awesome business isn't enough anymore. Having an awesome business that you convey, that you help somebody, empower them, or diminish fear is how you stick out in the competition. I have noticed that the most successful entrepreneurs are those who showcase their value. And in 2007, this was about the time that I started creating content on my blog, like helpful tutorials for people who just were trying to start out with a camera. And as a result of that, I was highly ridiculed. There were whole threads and people would tweet, and behind closed doors, people would be like, she's terrible, she doesn't know what she's talking about. Why would anybody hire her? And God, it sucked reading that. And I would talk about a new lens that I would get, and then comments would be like, that lens doesn't exist, idiot. And I would be like, what? I would go back to the lens, I'm like, they're right. I made up a lens. I would go back and I would fix it, and I would be like, thank you, haters. By putting yourself out and defining it, people talk back to you. Yes, the criticism will come, especially if you're new to the game, but I'm looking around the room and you're not, the criticism will come in different ways. If you decide to make a decision to make a stake in the world, be prepared for people's opinions to come. And as a result, I realized that by going through this, it didn't stop me. The ridicule and the criticism didn't stop me, and it hurt, and it's ugly, and you feel like you should be fearless when all you want to do is cower. But the result of showing up every day and reiterating a brand message, I either help you, I empower you, or I diminish fear again and again and again. And you're teaching people how to talk about you, which is inadvertently the one word we started this conversation with, experience. As a result of showing up and sucking year after year, I was able to have a 6-figure business my very first year out, not knowing what I was doing, talking about lenses that didn't exist. I was still ridiculed. I wasn't artistic, I wasn't the best, I wasn't the smartest, I wasn't the fastest, I wasn't the wittiest. I just learned one thing better than anybody else in the game. I learned how to talk to my customers better than anybody else.
How do you set up your process, showing up in a way that's impactful and powerful and really empowering your audience on all of those various platforms all at the same time?
Yes, so respecting the platform is just something to note is if you are on Instagram and you post a photo, do not automatically push it over to Facebook because the @ mentions and the hashtags that work on one platform are completely irrelevant in another, and what make your audience feel totally unintentionally is that you're having a conversation and they're eavesdropping on it. Get the same photo, the same caption, remove the @ mentions, tag the other people, and then remove the hashtag. So then it feels like it's native to the platform. But on that note, I do create content for each platform every day. I post every day on Instagram, and I post 2 or 3 times a day on Facebook. Even though Instagram's my jam, it's the larger of the two audiences, but there's so much growth and potential on Facebook that I'm just meeting a different demographic there. So when it comes up, so let's break this down, like the 30,000 foot view is when I start the beginning of a month, I look. So already for April, I know April 1st is Easter, so I should probably be creating content for whatever that Easter post is gonna be. So I've broken it down to, I will post on Easter. I come from like a very religious family, so we'll talk a little bit about the Easter meaning. The next day will be about leftover Easter candy, and then the next day will be like, oh, I'm back on the bandwagon. Like 3 days of content, just looking by what's happening that holidays.
Shoot in real time.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
And then what about the content though? Because your content is so good.
I write it there.
Okay, you do.
I do. Like, even if I have photos planned, I've noticed that unless it's like a formal post, like if I'm in a launch, I'll definitely dive in because there's things that you have to like hit. But when something comes from a real place, it feels real.
What if you have multiple products that don't necessarily cross over?
Are you trying to build a personal brand?
I don't know. I think maybe by default, you know.
I think the first step would be to answer that question, like, and hardcore answer it, like, and say, yes, I am building a personal brand, or no, I am not. Yeah. If you are building a personal brand, you just have to find the mechanisms to talk about the various things that you're doing, but still point back to what, I don't know, this is terrible, but like the golden egg. Like, what's your golden egg? That anything else that I went to and did with my life would always come back to this. And as a result, if, let's say, publicity is your golden egg, then you must learn how to talk about Aesop's fables, but say, hey guys, I'm gonna take you on the publicity journey. And then you just be a ripping open book. And you're talking about your book, but you're doing it by way of education. So I reached out to 5 different people, and guess what? 4 of them get sent this, blah, 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 blah. You're taking them on the publicity journey, but you're talking about your book. That gets into the consumer's needs instead of you talking about the product. And then you would do that with all of your other products, because your side hustle, I still think, works really well. If you find and you first identify, this is who I am and this is what I do, everything points back to that, then your navigation is different. But if you're like, no, I am a publicist, I am a writer, I am this, and all these things are different, then your social channels would probably have to be, would have to be probably separated.